What's going on YouTube? Ryan Knows Tech here from TechInform.us. On the left over here we've got a early 2010 MacBook Pro, and over here on the right is the mid-2009 MacBook Pro. Now the new 2010 is replacing my mid-2009 because my parents' desktop machine died. They wanted a Mac, so I just gave them this. Instead of buying them a new desktop, I paid the extra bit and upgraded myself to the higher-end 13-inch MacBook Pro. Pretty much the same. Slight difference, but we're not going to get into that a whole lot right now. But right now we are going to compare the two units. Really, there's not that big of a difference. Everybody was really waiting for the MacBook Pro updates this year. I think really hoping for the Intel Core i3, i5, and i7. I think in the 15 and the 17-inch, nobody was left behind. But in the 13-inch here, both still have Core 2 Duos, which is good, but not like an i5. So anyways. Again, the mid-2000 or the mid-09 is on the right. So the old low-end MacBook Pro, as in the mid-2009, was 2.26 gigahertz. The new one's 2.4. The old one had a 160 gig hard drive and 4 gigs of RAM. The new one has 2 gigs of RAM. The newer low-end MacBook Pro 13-inch has a 2.4 gigahertz processor and 4 gigs of RAM. So it's just a little bit better. It's got a 250 gig drive instead of a 160. The higher-end MacBook Pro, the mid-2009 model, was 2.53 gigahertz, 4 gigs of RAM, and a 250 gig drive. Now it's a 320 gig drive, 2.66 gigahertz, and still 4 gigs of RAM. So my current specification is the 2.66 gigahertz 13-inch MacBook Pro, early 2010, with 8 gigs of RAM. I don't know if I already said it, the 320 gig hard drive, whereas this one over here is the 2.53 with 4 gigs of RAM and a 250 gig drive, and it's not currently powered on. As far as physical differences between the two units, the graphics card. We should touch on the graphics card. The old MacBook Pro had a graphics card, the NVIDIA 9400M. It was a pretty good card. The new one has the 320M, M standing for mobile. I can definitely feel a difference. I've done some work in iMovie. I'll be editing this in iMovie most likely within the next 10 minutes. And I definitely feel a difference exporting in 720p high def. So you can definitely feel a difference when it comes to that. The new battery, it's a 10-hour battery versus the 7-hour battery. Now I've only had this computer for about 30 some hours here, and I really don't see that big of a difference. 3 hours, yeah, I can bet that it's 2 or 3 hours. If it's bad, I'll put an annotation in here, but I don't expect that. 10-hour battery versus the 7-hour battery. Hard drive, of course, you're not going to notice. It's just bigger. The processor between 2.5 and 2.6. Maybe that has a little something to do with my editing. Yeah, I can feel a little bit, but not much. I also have 8 gigabytes of RAM in the early 2010 over here on the left. I had 8 gigs of RAM in the old one. I just moved it over and put the 4 gig that was in the new one in the mid-2009. So that probably has a little bit something to do with it too. But then again, those tests were both done with 8 gig of RAM at different times. Two materials are the exact same. When I'm holding them, I cannot tell which is which. I have to open it up and check the software. One other hardware difference, the new early 2010 MacBook Pro comes with a charger. I wish I could focus, but it looks like this. It's a little bit smaller. It's got some aluminum up here. It's actually quite nice. It plugs in. It feels like a stronger magnetic material there. You get your same little light on either side. That way the cord can either run out the back or come towards the front. Personally, I like it out the back. But it works fine. I don't think it's meant to charge any better. It's just over the old one here on the MagSafe. That would stick out too much, so if you're sitting down and you have your legs crossed or something, sometimes it would pop up. I guess that was the problem. I never had it, but they did change that. The material of the cord also feels, I guess, less dense. The old one was kind of that real shiny, glossy Apple plastic rubber, whatever they use. The new one is just a little bit tougher. Doesn't make much of a difference. Both are fantastic computers. If you have a mid-2009, there's no reason to upgrade to the early 2010 unless there's a problem. A lot of people have asked me, why didn't I get a 15-inch? It's too big. I carry this thing everywhere. A 15-inch, it's a little heavy, it's a little big, I don't need it. Now, the resolution on both of these is 1280 by 800. Behind here, I have a 23-inch Asus 1080p monitor. It's beautiful. I use HDMI. If I want to do heavier work in here, I'll plug in my mini display to DVI, and it works fantastically. I don't need that. The speakers are supposedly better in the other one. Look over here. Bose Companion 2. I have no problems. So out on the go, these are very quick. I love them a lot. Great battery life. Definitely better battery life than the 15 and 17 inch. And if I want to sit down and do some work, I've got 2.6 gigahertz and a laptop and 8 gigs of RAM. That's a lot of power. And an over a gigahertz bus. Plug it into that monitor, those speakers, lots of work can be done. Plus the Magic Mouse and wireless keyboard. So both are great. If you're trying to buy one online, I would obviously just go for the newer one just because it's newer and you might get more for resale. Also, the specifications have been updated slightly. The graphics card's good, slightly better processors, a little bit bigger drives, more RAM in the lower end model, and the bigger battery and graphics card, if I didn't touch on that. So again, both are great, not a big difference. I didn't get it just because I thought, oh, I'm left behind. I got it because I had an opportunity and it only cost me personally $400 to upgrade, which I think is worth it for those specs. Much more than that, no, you don't need it. My next Mac, somebody asked me that too. My next Mac will probably be, I really don't want to, but a 15-inch i5 or i7. I don't want to because it's 15 inches, so I'm hoping I can get a while out of this, and then we'll talk upgrades. I had lots more questions coming in about shout-outs. I know, I'm doing them. I have a whole file here on my desktop called To Do. There it is, it's an RTF. Eventually I'll get to that. Don't worry about it. If you submitted it, you're going to get it. All right. After this, I'm not going to take any more because I get too many, but that video should be up soon. So thanks for watching. The early 2010, I guess it's a little better, but not a whole lot, over the mid-2009. Hope you enjoyed. If I missed anything, please comment. Let me know what you have or what you want in the terms of Mac or PC. So thanks again for watching. Our website, techinform.us. My Twitter, twitter.com/JamesRSchultz. Every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ustream.tv/techinformus. We host our live web shows. So I'll either see you guys in tomorrow's video or over there. And don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye. Thanks again.